Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute since I posted a video, I think around 3 years. But I have recently come back to selling on Etsy. I have started selling on Depop. I'm still selling on Poshmark. So I thought that I would pack my sales from the weekend and we could have a little chat and I'll tell you what I sold, and then after that I'll go in and show you what I sold at the beginning of September, because I feel like weekend sales aren't always the best gauge for how a business is doing, right? So this weekend was a little weird. It was a little slow, and I feel like I expected it to be a little bit bigger because usually September is a pretty powerful month. It's one of the best months of the year for me in the clothing business. But I had a really good August and I'm hoping that September continues to gain momentum. So let's go ahead and start packing. I'm going to start out with a Poshmark order. So I get a Fairy Loot subscription box. It's like a book subscription box. If you remember me from before, you know I love to read. I'm an author. I left and wrote some books, and so yes, I get the Fairy Loot subscription box, and sometimes they send stuff that I just won't use, and so I like to rehome that stuff. So one of them was this little e-reader sleeve with a sword motif on it. And the other one is a beach towel from a book called The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. It is on my TBR, but I have not read it yet. And I am actually going to send a couple of little bookish stickers too. So send these 3. So just little stickers, put them in there. This is a Poshmark sale, so if you've been following along with any of the Poshmark drama recently, you know that we are not allowed to use priority shipping anymore. It is all ground shipping, so you have to use your own packaging, or you can email an email address and they will send you supplies for your Poshmark closet. But I have not done that yet, so we're just gonna send it in a Fairy Loot box and call it a day. Okay, continuing on with Poshmark sales, we are going to ship out this J. Crew white skirt. So when I came back to reselling, I had a ton of inventory still in my house, in my storage room. I had bins and bins. I have racks. I am still working through it, but I am trying to be really good and list my death pile. And this is one of the items that was in a bin. It is new with tags. It's a J. Crew skirt. I'll put a picture up on the screen so you can see what it looks like. And that one sold for, I wrote all this down. That one sold for $20. I was just happy to get it out of my house because it's, I mean, I was away from reselling for almost 3 years, so it's been sitting in my house for 3 years, and so now I'm able to turn it into money. So that's good for me. After my fees and I think a shipping discount as well, I made $15.46 on this. Next up, this was a mistake. So recently was National Thrift Store Day, and I went to the Goodwill outlet because they have the by the pound outlet. They were doing an all clothing day, and I was just so pumped. You know, I was recently back from back into listing. I was selling stuff. So I went and I bought this just shapewear piece, but unfortunately it has these I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, you can see it. The marks here. I washed it, spot treated it. I don't know what they are. Couldn't get them out. So I only listed it for, I think, $15. And it's a walk hole, like, shaper camisole with like a built-in bra. And so that one did sell for $13, and then I'm pretty sure I had a shipping discount on that as well, with the offer to likers. And so I made $9.51 on that. I mean, I got it at the bins. Our bins are $2 a pound. This is not terrible. I would say this is under a pound. I didn't lose money, you know, so that's good. I love these mailers. I just ordered these from Amazon recently. I just love that cottagecore, like spring, nature, autumn. You can go for any season really. You got the mushrooms. This I'm so happy to be getting rid of. This I've had for, I'm not even joking, probably, including the time that I was away, probably 4 or 5 years. Should I have just redonated it? Almost definitely. It's a J. Crew Liberty of London blouse. It was in a size extra small, but I did not realize at the time that I picked it up, it had like a little tie that went with it. And there's nothing to indicate that it would have a little necktie. Like, it doesn't have a loop on the back or anything. So I love Liberty of London. They have the most gorgeous floral prints, and so I was excited to find this collaboration, but this just, it doesn't do very well. Like, if you look at the past comparison, like comps, the past solds, not that great. So anyway, very happy to get this out of my life. I sold it for $11. I got an offer. I think I recently relisted it at like a lower price. Sold it for $11 after probably Poshmark fees, and maybe I offered a shipping discount. No, they sent me an offer. Anyway, I got $8.05, which is, I mean, it's almost definitely more than I paid for it. I have no idea how much I paid for it, but yeah. You live and you learn, right? Last Poshmark sale was this. This was from my own closet. Does not fit me anymore. It is a Bowden button-up shirt. I used to wear a lot of button-up shirts, like under sweaters and stuff, so the collar's peeking out, especially when I worked in retail. I used to work for Barnes & Noble. I was merchandise manager for them, and I love stuff like this, but it doesn't really fit into my lifestyle anymore. I find that if I'm not layering under a sweater, I get a lot of like pucker at the chest, so just don't do a lot of button-ups anymore. Anyway, very cute squirrel print, and I sold this one for $40. It was not listed that long. I'm gonna say maybe a month and a half. I think I listed this when I came back to reselling. So I came back in the middle of July. So that one I sold for $40. It was mine, so I made $32 on it. Now we will move on to Etsy sales. And Etsy this weekend was like, it was a little weird. I mean, everything that I list I want to sell, right? So I have a lot of variety, just like stuff that's been sitting around my house. Maybe I got it at the bins because I thought it was cool, or whatever. Case in point, it's this Victorian mink muff. So you would like put your hands in it to keep warm on your sleigh ride, or you know, whatever you were gonna do. And it is lined in a silk, but the silk is starting to shred on the inside. So obviously I did call all of that out in the listing and took photos of it and everything like that. But I thought it would be a really good prop piece, like if it was, if someone was putting on a play, if they were doing, you know, Charles Dickens, for the upcoming holiday season. I thought there was still some use to it. The fur is still in really nice shape. It's not shedding, so we are going to go ahead and ship that out to the buyer. And sometimes I wrap my Etsy that's not gonna fit. Sometimes I wrap my Etsy sales in paper. Okay, got the jumbo mailer. So, would I buy this again if I saw it at the bins? Probably not. But I had it. It was already in my house, so might as well list it, right? Let me look up what I sold that for. Okay, so this one sold for $45.99. Not bad considering the damage and stuff, but it is real mink. Okay. And Etsy has added this new thing to the bottom of your sales page where they tell you what your profit was, like after all of their fees and everything. So until I ship this out, I won't know exactly my order earnings, but I did pay $3.40 for a transaction fee. There's always 20 cents for a listing fee, and that's for 4 months. And then there's a payment processing fee of $1.90. So my guess is I made around $40 on the muff. Not bad for something just sitting around my house. Okay, next up is a little snake armband. You could wear it a lot of different ways. You could wear it as a choker, like over a turtleneck, or you can wear it like on your upper arm, or you can wear it as a bangle, but it is just a little snake. And I'll put up like the listing photos. This was very popular, very popular. And so I'm not surprised that it sold. I'm only kind of surprised that it didn't sell sooner. So this one, let's see, the sales price was $35.99. And after my fees, they used a coupon code on this for 10% off. So I have a coupon code that goes out to people who leave it in their carts. So not if they like the item, but if they're actually putting it in their cart and they just let it sit, I do send out a coupon code, and that will go out through like Etsy's official email. And I'm gonna include a little fox sticker here. So that's for 10% off. And then I also do one if they are a repeat customer, they get a 10% off coupon code as well. So they did use the abandoned cart, and then after my fees, I paid $2.41 in transaction fee, $1.43 in payment processing fee, and then the 20-cent listing fee. And so I would say after everything, about that $31 price point is what I'm getting. And again, I did not go out and buy this. This was something that I had in my house already. So I'm moving out that death pile, that stale stuff that's just been like sitting in my storage room for multiple years. I'm gonna pack this up in a little bubble wrap. And for jewelry, I do like to use a little padded mailer. I'll put this in here. Okay. Got the mug. Having to kind of go a little faster because my cart is full for some reason. I'll have to go back through and delete a bunch of old stuff. Alright. So this, I got it at an estate sale recently. I sold it for only $14.99, but I paid $1 for it. Sometimes I just buy things because I like them. And this mug sort of reminded me of like Laura Ashley, cottagecore, the English countryside. Yeah, so stick some fragile stickers on that. And then the last sale that I had was actually some children's books. They were the Bailey School Kids. I don't know if you guys remember those, but I loved them as a kid. They just like had me in a chokehold. I read so many of them. Okay, so I'm gonna pack up these Bailey School Kids books, and that will be it. So I am hoping to come back to YouTube in some capacity. I am thinking about doing haul videos when I do go to the Goodwill outlet, and also doing the what sold videos, and then I'm thinking about doing like vlog type videos, day in the life kind of thing, because while I have been gone from YouTube, that is sort of what I've been watching. I've been watching a lot of Korean and Japanese creators who just sort of have like really peaceful vlogs. You follow them around and they cook, but mine would be more vintage focused, like if I'm going out sourcing or if I'm photographing or doing a particular kind of cleaning. And so that is what I am thinking. If you have any other videos that you remember from me that you used to enjoy, let me know and I will see what I can do. I am going to try and take it easy because obviously making money through my selling platforms is the most important thing for me right now, so I will have a very limited amount of time to like spend on YouTube and editing and all of that stuff, so just let me know. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and jump on over to the computer and I'll show you what I sold at the beginning of September, and we'll kind of talk through those sales. And you can leave me a comment down below and let me know what your favorite sale of the month was, if anything felt nostalgic for you. I always loved reading your comments, and so I hope to continue to do that. All right, let's get over there. And this is the first thing that I sold. I got a few of these in a bin at the Goodwill outlet. It was 2 mini skirts, like a bodysuit, and a tank top. And the mini skirts flew out the door, like offers same day, next day. So these Free People movement, like mini skirt, if you see one of those, you're looking at a very easy $25-ish. So this I got at the bins, probably paid, our bins are $2 a pound, so I probably paid about $1 for it. And my earnings was $20, so I think I probably made about $19 on this. This was something that has been in my closet for quite a while. I found a stock photo for it. Originally, I just had this hanging photo, but I found a stock photo for it. I think I originally looked for a stock photo, couldn't find it, but with the inception of the Google image search, I was able to find one. So this one sold for $22, and my earnings was $15.28. Because I did have a shipping discount of $2.32 on that. Next up, the next 2 items sold in a bundle, and the bundle together sold for $69. Is that right? No, sorry, $62. And the first item was this fox sweater, which I've also had for quite a while. This was mine from my wardrobe, and that sold for, well, it was listed for $22. And then the other item was this Hot Topic shirt, and this was listed for $40. My earnings was $49.60. I had actually bought this shirt for my husband, and he just never wore it. So when we were cleaning out his closet, he told me I should sell it. So, and then this was also mine. I loved this trench coat, but I ended up finding an Anthropologie one that I liked more, and I didn't want to have multiple trench coats because I don't wear them that often, so I went ahead and sold this. It did sell for $25, and my earnings was $20. Next up was this Emily and Finn dress. I don't know where I got this. It was in one of the bins that I found in my storage room. It had like a little issue, but it was new with tags. And that one sold for $36, and my earnings were $26.48. The next item was a Holy Clothing dress. Like this brand, I'd actually never heard of it before, but I looked it up when I found this item in the bins. And they do a lot of like Ren Fair type dresses, like very kind of like 1980s inspired, like retro bohemian witchy sort of feel to them. They have a bunch of different cuts. This was the Isolde cut, and it was in a size 4X. They retail for quite a bit. I think this was, $150 retail. So I did list it for, actually I'm not sure what I listed it for, $75 maybe? And then I had a shipping discount, so I did send an offer to Likers on that one. I think at 10% offer to Likers. Anyway, my earnings were $48.88. This was a little bit heavy, so I probably paid somewhere around $3 or $4 for it at the Goodwill outlet. This dress I had for so long. It came in my Stitch Fix palette that I bought, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. And it's just kind of one of the stragglers. I didn't list it for a long time because it didn't really inspire me, but I had it hanging on a hanger, and that just was not selling it. And then I tried a stock photo with it being worn on somebody, and that was not selling it. So finally I pulled it out of my inventory and decided to style it, relisted it with these new photos, and it sold within, I would say, like a week or two. And I was so happy to see this gone. Or this sold for $20. I did have a shipping discount, and my cost of goods was about $6 on everything that was in the pallet. Each individual piece was about $6. And so my net earnings were $13.68, and then if you take out the cost of goods, it was, $7.68. Was that worth it? Should I have probably donated it? Yes, but I am nothing if not persistent, so here we are. I was glad to see that go. The next item I got recently at the Goodwill outlet. I just really liked this print. It was Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville, which I had never seen this label before. And it was a good size, and they were wide leg, and the rayon was really soft and swishy. So I liked them a lot, just like from a style standpoint. They are available on Amazon for about $22, I think. Somebody offered me $17, and I decided not to be stingy. I should just take the money. So $13.60. It was not the best pickup, but I do think that they're cute. So this was something I sold after having been listed for years. My reseller assistant relisted it for me, and then it sold, I think, a day or two after they relisted it. It was just some miscellaneous like bento stuff. I used to pack bento when I worked at Barnes & Noble. Earnings was $10.05, and that was just stuff from my cabinet. So this Sea Folly dress I have also had for a really long time. Just listed it recently though because it was in a tub with a bunch of other more modern things, not like vintage things that I had in my storage room. Anyway, so I don't remember how much I paid for this, but I did make $40 on it, and after my Poshmark fees, I got $32, so no shipping discount on this. Sorry if I'm lagging, I'm a little rusty here, but bear with me. This ModCloth dress I bought recently at Goodwill. I kind of paid up for it just because I like the style, and sometimes I just like to have certain styles in my closet. I think that it just kind of leads the right kind of buyer to my closet. So I don't know. I got this one I paid $7 for it. It sold for $30. My earnings were $24. So I made, what's that, like $17? Not the best, but you know, it's money. This was another thing that I've had in my Poshmark closet for quite a while. And my reseller assistant relisted it. It was from my own personal closet. And it sold pretty quickly after being relisted, which is amazing because it's just been sitting in my Poshmark closet for like 2 years, you know, like I haven't been touching my closet. I haven't been relisting anything. I haven't really been putting up new stuff until, you know, this July. So this sold for $22, and after fees, my takeaway was $15.28. Etsy, and the first thing to sell on Etsy was this pair of vintage trouser, like stirrup pants. These were from my storage room, and the buyer paid total $24.60. They did get 20% off for Labor Day. I was running a sale. And so after shipping, after fees, after everything was taken out, I earned $17.40 on that. A dirndl dress, also from my storage room. They purchased this with the Labor Day sale. It was $125.99, and then they got 20% off. So after all the fees, all the shipping, I got $89.99. And you can kind of see the top was like more of a thick woven fabric. And this is actually truly a vintage lands piece. So here is the tag. And the tag above it is a name that someone stitched in. And then the size was 40. And then, of course, I did provide measurements in the listing. The next one I purchased at an estate sale. My husband and I and the kids just decided to go out yard sailing, and we kind of followed these signs to this estate sale. And it was like up in the mountains, super windy path, like a one-way driveway. It was pretty crazy, but I got some really good stuff there, including this dress. This is from the Limited. There was like a granddaughter's room that had been untouched since the 90s, I think, and this was in there, so you can see the old tag. It's kind of giving me like Monica Geller vibes. And this got a lot of attention. This was very popular. So after all of the sales and fees and everything like that, I made $49.04. And at this estate sale, I paid about $4 per piece for the clothing that I picked up. So really not too bad. I made about $45 on that one. This I picked up at the bins. It was just Merona, kind of early Merona, Y2K sort of era, but it was 100% linen, and it had clearly been washed and loved, and it was nice and soft, and I just really liked the pattern, and the size was good. I'm always trying to add plus size stuff into my Etsy shop. So after the discount, this is after Labor Day, but I do have 10% off discounts when people have an abandoned cart, or if someone has made a purchase from me before. So this was an abandoned cart, and after all of the fees that Etsy takes out and the shipping, it was $21.99 in profit, and then after my cost of goods, which was probably about $1.25, not too bad. This was something from my storage room. It was this kind of sage green blouse, kind of pale green with like a little Peter Pan type of collar. It was by Carol Brent. I don't know if you can, it's a very close up tag, but It's from the 60s. This one sold for full asking price, $31.99 after all my fees and the shipping. I made $28.25 on this. Next up, this is the same blouse that I had paired with the dirndl earlier. I do sell things separately if they're not like intended to be a set. This was, I think, something from my storage room as well, but I really liked these like kind of puffed, sort of gathered sleeves and that high neckline. This one sold for full asking price, $45.99 after all was said and done. I made $40.95. This was also from my storage room. This was a two-piece vintage sweater set from the 50s. The sweater sets, particularly from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, do really well and they command a high price. The earlier you go, the more money you're going to get. The 30s ones are definitely the most valuable. I'd say even 70s ones can be good though, but this was one that was from about the 1950s, and it sold for full asking price of $144.99. And after all the fees and everything was said and done, I made $130.28. This was just a book from our personal collection. I used to work at a used bookstore, so I have many used and vintage books that I just bought for my kids, and I loved this one because I had like this giant fold-out moon, but my kids never really liked it that much, so we didn't read it a lot. When we were cleaning out their rooms, we decided to sell this one, and instead of just donating it, I do like to sell books. This one sold in my Etsy shop pretty quickly. This one, I guess, actually was part of the Labor Day sale, so they got 20% off. But after all was said and done, I made $10.79 on this book. These were mine. Absolutely loved them. I think I bought them on Poshmark forever ago. But unfortunately, I can only wear gold, silver, or surgical steel now, and these kind of irritated my ears, so I was not able to wear them. This sold as part of a 3-piece bundle during the Labor Day sale, so they got 20% off, so they purchased this and this sweater that I had listed for probably 3 years. I took a really hard look at all of my listings that had not sold in the time that I was away, because a lot of items did sell, so the things that were left were either, I felt like maybe the pictures needed to be refreshed or the tags needed to be refreshed, or maybe I'd overpriced the item. So this one I think I just had priced too high because it did have some damage to it. And I ended up relisting it. Like one of the buttons was damaged, but here's the tag for anyone curious. But it did sell very quickly after kind of redoing the pictures and relisting at a lower price. And then the last item in the bundle was this very cute little candle holder. I bought it for myself at the bins, but unfortunately I don't really use taper candles, so I just decided to sell that. And so they bought all 3 of these items. The items priced together was $95.97. They did get 20% off for the Labor Day sale. So all told, after everything, shipping and all that, I made $74.86 on these 3 items, which is not bad because I definitely got the candle holder at the bins, and I think the sweater may have come from the bins as well. This was something that I ended up rephotographing when I was going through my listings. This is how it looked before, which, I don't know, it's fine, but I styled it with a skirt and a belt, and it got a lot of attention after I spruced up the listing. And this one did sell relatively quickly after redoing the photos and everything. They did use a 10% off discount, and so after all was said and done, I got $30.53 on that, which that to me is like worth refreshing listing. The other one where I made like, $7, I don't know, but this one, I don't this one's more worth it, I think. This I got at the Goodwill bins. I was so excited to find this because I love the adorable little mushroom print. It was just Woman Within. I'm not super familiar with this brand, but it was made of 100% rayon, and it did end up selling for full asking price, $44.99. And so I made $40.06 on that before my cost of goods. This was pretty lightweight because it was rayon, so I think I probably paid about $1 for it, so not too bad. These I did pay $1 for. I got them at a church sale, and they were true 90s, no boundaries. You can see there is the materials tag. Let's see if I can find that. There's the little brand tag. It has branded hardware. So really cool. It had some branding on the back of the overalls as well in the center. Those I listed for $64.99. The buyer did pay full asking price, so after all was said and done with fees, I got $56.86, and then I paid $1 for it. So not too bad, about $55.86 in profit on that. This was from my storage room. I have some pretty great stuff in that storage room. But yeah, just getting through it is kind of a task. All right, so this one sold for full asking price of $84.99. I believe I had a tag on this that I had bought it at Savers probably a few years ago. It was fully lined, which I liked a lot. It was a little bit of a larger size. The lining is quilted. You can see the tag here. It says New Wang Kong Company. And it had like this kind of shiny metallic fuzz sticking out of it. But the nice thing about it was that because it was fully lined, like it wasn't gonna irritate your skin, which I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, after all was said and done with fees, I got $75.82. Even paying $13 for that, that's still about a $62 profit. So that is not bad at all. This was actually a bundle, but the second item like closed out when I was trying to prep this video. I sold this pin. This was from my storage room, and then a horse pin. So two little pins, and the buyer used a abandoned cart coupon, so they got 10% off. And after my costs, my fees and shipping and everything, I made $17.33 on this. Next was this necklace. I am pretty sure that I got this from a Goodwill blue box probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it's just been sitting in my piles of stuff to sell. It was listed for $39.99, and they did pay full price for that. They paid $22 in shipping. Where's this going? Oh, Switzerland. So that went to Switzerland, and after all of the fees that I paid, I made $33.76. So, we gotta list the stuff that we have. Like, it is actually money sitting around. This next item went to Canada, and it was a requirement skirt. I believe I picked this up at the Goodwill outlet recently. I had it listed for $35.99. They did use a 10% off coupon, and after fees, my earnings was $26.72. And this was unlined, and it was not wool, so it wasn't too heavy. So I would say less than $2 cost of good on that. This is a pin that I got from a vintage dealer who decided they didn't want to be in the business anymore, so I bought out a ton of their stuff. This was just sitting in my storage room. It was listed for $28.99. It's an Art Deco pin from the 1930s. They did pay full asking price for it, and so after my fees, it was $25.46 deposited into my account. We have two more items. This one was from my storage room as well. I believe I paid about $4 or $5 for this, but I don't quite remember. I think I purchased this in Goodwill. They did pay full asking price for it, so $42.99. And after shipping and fees, I made $37.96 on that. And the last item that sold during the beginning of September was this Rosemary Reed swimsuit. I'll show you guys a tag. And this is a very popular swimwear designer from the 1950s. This is a very classic style, just, you know, the very traditional like 50s shape, and had the metal zipper, a hook and eye closure at the waist and the back, metal hardware like strap adjustments and everything, and fully lined with boned cups. And this did have a bit of a like pool type smell to it, and I did warn the buyer. I do offer free, well, not free returns. They can return it for any reason, but they have to pay shipping. But I told this buyer that I would comp the shipping if she did not like if the smell bothered her too much. It smelled kind of like chlorine or like a pool, you know. But she hasn't reached out, and she said she would let me know if it was too much, but she was hoping it was fine. And that one sold for 10% off. And so after the fees, I made $87.64. And again, this was just something that was in my storage room. So pretty decent amount made just from stuff that I already have. And that's it for Etsy for this beginning of September. Alright friends, that is it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, and you'd like to see more of this type of video, leave me a comment down below and go ahead and hit the like button. If you are not already subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. I do hope to be posting similar content about the platforms that I sell on, which are Etsy and Poshmark and Depop. And then I also sell books on Pango Books, so if anyone is interested in that, I can include those in my wrap-up videos as well. And yeah, I think I'll leave it here, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!